Hi, my name is Christina Youssef and I am the founder of KYK Hair and KYK Hair Care. Today I'm jumping online to share my story, a story untold, some which you may have already heard in the past, but some which might come as a surprise to you. I'm going to go right back to the beginning. When I was born, only at 3 days old, I was told that I have congenital heart disease. At the start in the hospital, the doctors didn't know what was wrong with me. I'd stopped breathing and I was very unwell, in which they then took me to emergency surgery to find out that both my aortic and pulmonary valves were not functioning. And as a result, I instantly had to go and have open heart surgery. Since then, I've had 5 open heart surgeries. Being that I'd had obviously medical health issues for most of my childhood, the doctors always told me that my life would be a little bit different. I'd be disadvantaged, might be different to my peers. I wouldn't have the same lifestyle essentially like anyone else, simply due to the limitation of my health. However, I didn't let that stop me. I knew that if it meant that I could survive 5 open heart surgeries, I had a greater purpose in this life. If I could survive 5 open heart surgeries, that there was a reason I was still here. I had a passion for hairstyling from a very young age. And in our culture and in our society, it's like hairstyling is just a hobby. It's not a career. It's like, you got to go to uni and graduate. You either have to be a pharmacist or an engineer or a doctor or something reputable, because that's what success is defined by. It's that stereotype that hair and makeup, that's just like not a thing. Just do it on the side, but it's not a career. However, I did exactly that. I went to uni and I graduated with a double degree of social work and human services. So I completed that degree. And now, as a mother, I look back and I'm grateful that my parents kind of encouraged me to do that. Because at the end of the day, it's always really important to have that security under your belt. To be like, you still have a degree. If for whatever reasons my hand stopped working one day, or that I lost that skill or that passion, I still had something to fall back on. When I went to my dad and I said to him, Dad, I really want to do hair, I enjoy it. Can I do it? Can you build me a home-based salon, something from home? I remember him turning around and saying to me, Christina, I'm happy to support you and I'm happy, to help you create this salon, but I need to see that you're busy. I need to see that you're serious. I need to see that you're committed. I need to see customers waiting to do their hair with you. And so I said, okay, no worries. I started from just a plain bedroom downstairs in the house, one basic chair you could probably buy from Bunnings, and a table that I found. There was nothing else to it. I had a hair straightener, I had a can of hairsprays, and a box of bobby pins. And I remember telling myself, well, I'm a graduate now. And it was really hard, obviously, as you know, as a graduate, to find any job. So while I was looking for a social work job, I decided to start doing styling on the weekends, and just $20 for a hairstyle, because it's going to take me about, 1 or 2 hours to do it. But it's kind of the same as if I was going to go and work in retail. I was probably going to get paid, $12, $15 an hour. So that's how it all started. I just started doing clients at home. Now, back in the day, 15 years ago when I started, there wasn't really any social media. So there was no way of kind of getting the word out there other than simply by literally word of mouth. Now, the great thing is that with the brides, which is kind of my specialty, it was like if you do a bride, she then goes to her wedding reception and she's got 200-300 other people there. So people start talking, oh, who did your hair? Your hair looks great. And that was kind of how I got to where I was in regards to referrals. It was all word of mouth for me. People would always ask, oh, who did your hair? Oh, it was Christina. And then they would come and get their hair done with me. So surely enough, after 4 weeks of me styling just regular clients, people from the community, friends, family, whoever it was, the house studio or the bedroom, I guess, just started getting busier. And I remember there at one stage, there was a couple of people waiting downstairs outside the room. And then at that point, I think it was when my dad was like, okay, yep, she's quite determined. And he saw the vision. He believed in me. And he painted the room for me and helped me put a pretty chandelier and set it up. And that's when it all started 15 years ago. And I believed that if it was something that I enjoyed, why not pursue it, regardless of the stereotype, regardless of what people think. I didn't have any hairdressing experience. I'm not a qualified hairdresser. I don't cut, I don't color. It was just a passion that I had for styling. And I took that and I ran with it. I then thought about, how can I make this a full-time job? I really enjoyed it and I didn't want to get into social work at that point. I was like, this is fun. This is like, great. You get to glam people, you make them feel good. How can I turn it into something more secure? And that's when I was like, do you know what? I'm going to start doing keratin. So I started doing keratin during the week because I needed to do something during the week, because styling, as you know, is only Friday to Sunday. And I remember that's how I was getting more income, which made it a lot more secure for me. And then slowly, people started talking about my styling skills, and that's when my requests started coming through about education. One after another. So I started flying interstate and educating other stylists. And then I realized that I had a passion for education. And I really enjoyed teaching people and showing people like my way and my skills and how to just, I guess, upskill their own. And so I started touring all around Australia. And then I remember one time watching others. Now, at this point, going about maybe 10 years into my career, I used to see like celebrity stylists and how they would always get endorsed by bigger brands to travel and go international and do classes overseas. And I thought to myself, why am I waiting for an opportunity to like come to me? Why don't I create the opportunity for myself? So I decided, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to put myself out there. I'm going to take the risk and I'm going to create my own international tour. And that's exactly what I did. And if there's anything you can take from this, I want you to believe in yourself and don't wait for opportunities to come knocking on your door. If you feel them, you see them, you vibe with them, you go chase them, because make your own dreams your reality. And I remember organizing my USA and Canada tour. I did 6 classes in 5 different cities in 2 countries over a span of 2 weeks. They all sold out, and to the point that we actually added an extra class due to the demand. And I got to go overseas on my own and teach the KYK way. And that was such a beautiful, uplifting moment in my career. It was like the highest point of my career, and I was so excited that I was able to do that. Just your regular girl, just from the Bronx, as you would say. She was a West Side girl, and she just got to really put herself out there, and the world, was willing to learn from her. So once I did that, I came back, and even though I was like at the peak of my career, I just felt like I needed to do something else. At this point in my life, your chapters are constantly changing. Like, I was married, I had 2 children, I had a girl and a boy. They were 10 months apart, to be exact. So I had 2 kids under the age of 1. And I had a very supportive husband, a husband who obviously believed in my vision, and he saw the passion that I had for what I do and was very supportive and helped support that dream that I had. And I said to him, I remember saying, I need to do something that is not as demanding on me physically. With my health obviously being a concern, it's like I can't risk continuously putting that pressure on myself, on my body, and I never like to disappoint anyone. So unless I was like dying in hospital, I would always show up for my brides, because these brides would book you 2 years in advance, and they're booking you. They're not booking your assistant, they're not booking your team, they're not booking another person, they're booking you in. And unless you are dying, I feel like you should not be canceling. And that was the philosophy that I pretty much took on board. It was like, for example, there was a time where I was really unwell while doing a bridal party. And I remember telling my assistant, Haley, I don't feel well. Like, I really don't feel well. And I was like, do you know what? I'm just going to finish doing this bridal party. I'm going to get through it. I'm going to be okay. And I just soldiered on until I finished. I did her, I did the bridesmaids. And as soon as I walked out of there, I was like, please take me straight to ED. I ended up getting admitted into hospital for a week after that. And then there was another time where I remember being in hospital, very unwell, but I had a bridal party the next day. And I said to the doctor, am I dying? And she's like, no. And I'm like, okay, well, I need to be discharged because I actually need to go do a bride. And as long as I'm well enough to go and do the bride, I'll come back. I will put myself. I mean, I'm not telling you to be that extreme, but that's how passionate I was about what I did, and very much dedicated, because I loved what I did and I just never wanted to disappoint anyone. Having said that, I had to be realistic with my kids getting older, with them, obviously starting to understand now more that mum was never around on the weekends because she was always doing bridal parties. I needed a change. And that's when KYK Hair Care was born. For me, it was all about how can I work smarter, not harder? How can I take that pressure off my body? And how can I stop the service but turn it into something else? I also wanted to create almost like a legacy, something that, you know, if tomorrow was never promised, then, which it isn't, something would continue on from what I started. So KYK Hair Care was born 4 years ago. And when I entered that field of starting a new company, essentially, I had zero business experience. I wasn't brought up where I had a lot of business people around me or business parents or anything like that. Like, I don't think I even know anyone that's in business, especially a female, that runs a business, even in our community. So it was all very new to me. But I believe that if I tried, I could put myself out there, and with the hair community that I'd built on social media, it could possibly work. And that's what I did. With the knowledge that I had from the products over the last 14 years, I was able to find the gaps in the industry. What products I liked, what products I didn't like, what was missing, what needed to be changed, what needed to be improved. I took that knowledge and I ran with it. I started doing R&D, so research and development. I was testing samples, testing formulas. And then after a year's worth of research, I then started developing products. And Magic Dust Volume Powder was born. And over the last 4 years, we've been running KYK Hair Care, and every day is a learning curve. Every day you learn something new. And unless you put yourself out there and try, I feel like you're never going to really know whether it's going to be successful or not. But for me, I believe that, like, if you believe it and you dream it, then you can achieve it. And whenever I came to make any sort of business decisions, I always would pray and I would say, and this, like, I mean, can go for you as well, whether you're an atheist or whether you have a religion of some sort, I feel like it's really important to have a really strong belief of some sort, because it's your backbone and it carries you through the hard times. And for me, it was my faith. My faith is really important to me, and I always relied on it when running any of my careers, like KYK Hair or KYK Hair Care. And I remember going into a really important meeting that I really, really wanted. Like, I was been working the last 4 years towards this particular goal. And I finally had the meeting, and I remember walking in before going in, and I was like, God, you know, if this is not for me, if you don't think it's the right time, if you don't think it's good for me, if you don't think I can take it, then please don't give it to me. I don't want it. I didn't get it. The meeting wasn't successful. And despite how upset I was, because, you know, I really wanted it, it's like I was okay with that, because I knew that God had a different plan for me, a different path, something else was going to come out of it, and a different door would open. And I feel like it's really important to have that mentality when you work for yourself, or in anything in life, really. You just have to have that belief that everything's going to be okay, because if you're going to get upset every time something happens that it's not what you wanted, or it wasn't what you were expecting, then you're just going to be constantly disappointed. And when you work for yourself, there's no one that's going to pick you up. There's no one that's going to wake you up in the morning and tell you, you need to do this. You don't have anyone to answer to other than yourself. So it's really important that you need to constantly motivate yourself and find that fire in your belly to keep going. And that's what you need to do, essentially. Like, I'm not going to say every day is going to be a good day. You're going to have some hard days. There are going to be some days where you just feel like you're in a rut. You just can't do it anymore. It's too hard. But it's in those days that you need to think of all the good things, and you need to think about your purpose and your why. And it's kind of like, I'm going to give you an example, why it's important that if you are blessed with a talent, to really work and put your all into it. Kind of like there's this parable in our Bible where God gave 3 different men a coin. The first man that he gave the coin to, he gave him one. All 3 men actually got a coin each, right? And then after a certain period of time, God came back to them and he said, okay, what did you do with your coins? The first guy, the coin is a talent, okay? So he took that talent and he hid it, because he wanted to protect his coin. He didn't want to lose it. He didn't want it to get lost or whatever. So he just protected it and hid it. The second guy took his coin and he doubled it. So he just made it twice, he made 2 coins. So he just doubled his talent essentially. Then the third guy worked really hard, took risks, and he multiplied it, right, by 10. So he got multitude of coins. And so then God said, well, I gave you this talent. Why would you hide it? I gave it to you for a reason. And then the second guy, it's like, okay, well, he took that coin and he did something with it, but it was very mediocre. And the third guy, he took it and he did the most with it. So God was really happy with that. And you can kind of relate that back to your life and say, well, if God gives you a talent, one day he's going to judge you and he's going to ask you, what did you do with that talent? And you need to be able to show him that you tried your best. You woke up every day and you found that determination to make something out of that talent. And that's how I look at it. And I also believe that if God puts the fire in your heart, it's for a reason. He put it in your heart for a reason. He didn't give it to somebody else. He didn't give that passion or that ambition or that determination to someone else. He gave it to you. So he obviously strongly believes that you can do greatness with that. And he wants to see you do greatness with that. And that's why he's giving you that ambition or that determination or that talent or that skill. And so every day, that's how I look at running my business. And, you know, I'm proud that I'm able to call this a job and that I get to watch people all around the world use KYK Hair Care. I get to see, you know, friends using it and loving it and hear that their hairstylists have used it, and when they went to a salon that they've seen it. And I get to see celebrity stylists using it on celebrities all across the other side of the world. And what I'm trying to say is it's something that I would have never imagined 10 years ago. Like if you had asked me, Christina, where do you see yourself in 10 years time? It's definitely wouldn't have been here. And I surprise myself every day. And I feel like you can too, because I don't have anything that you don't have. Like I didn't go to uni and study business. I didn't go to uni and study hairdressing. I just had a passion and I was really determined. So I made it work. And I feel like you can too. So I hope this story helps give you inspiration, regardless of what the medics tell you, whether they tell you you're going to be disadvantaged or not. At the end of the day, it's your life. You get to call the shots and you get to write your story. So write your story, and I hope it's a good one, and be proud of yourself. And it's okay to be hard on yourself sometimes, or to be disappointed, or to feel like you let yourself down. That's all just part of the journey. But at the end of the day, there's always light and there's always greatness, and always good comes out of everything. I hope this has helped you or someone that you know. And thank you for following KYK Hair Care, because without you guys, I wouldn't be able to do what I do, and I wouldn't be here today. So I'm forever grateful. Thank you.